Out of all the fragrances I've worn in 2024, these were the ones I went back to the most. Not all of them necessarily were launched in 2024, and I may have bought them earlier than 2024, but I wore these fragrances a lot, and the evidence is clear because the dents in these fragrances are considerable. If this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances and I talk about them here Monday through Friday, and I also do additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And if you're interested, I do have a podcast called The Fragrance Report. You can find a new episode every single Wednesday on Spotify, and I also make sure to publish experts from that episode on Fridays on this channel as well. So this is more of like a fun video because I've talked about a lot of these fragrances pretty often. So I'm just going to kind of take you through this because all of these fragrances are ones that I did use pretty often because a lot of these fragrances have like half full. Some of them are a little bit less than that, but we'll see. So yeah, let's get started and talk about in no particular order. And by the way, my fragrance favorites of the year is kind of turning into a series. I have so many favorites that I loved over this past year, and it's kind of difficult to lump it all into one video. So I'm doing different iterations of what were my most used fragrances, what were my favorite fragrances that were niche, what were my favorite Middle Eastern fragrances, and I'm doing it that way this year. So yeah, definitely check my channel if you want to see more of these videos. I have them up and I have them coming. So let's start off with no particular order. This one right here. This is the Navitus Melon Kiss fragrance, and to be honest, this perfume is most likely probably my favorite Navitus fragrance that they've come out with so far. It's really, really good. It was created in collaboration with Gabby Loves Perfumes here on YouTube, and she basically created it because she wanted a photorealistic melon fragrance. And to be honest, this was one of my essential fragrances for the summertime. I wore this constantly because it layers so well with other fragrances, and it's just like a very delicious photorealistic melon fragrance with honey, and I love it. It's so, so good. If you get this fragrance, let it sit, let it settle, give it a few days, because when I first got it, I wasn't really getting the melon, but after a while, after I let it settle, I got it, and it's beautiful. It's stunning. It's a really, really good one. Melon Kiss by Navitus, and here is my dent for reference. I use this one up pretty heavily. Another pretty obvious dent is Afnan's Mystique Bouquet. Again, we have dents across all different categories here. This is a Middle Eastern fragrance, and look at this dent right here. Essentially, this contains, oh my gosh, this is like a peach lily of the valley kind of fragrance with vanilla, I believe. It's like a very beautiful girly fragrance. A little bit goes a long way with this one. I wore this a lot. You can tell. Another Middle Eastern fragrance that I absolutely loved, and I have had this for a really long time, but I think I used it extra hard this year, is Une Noire by Al Haramain. This is essentially like a sandalwood vanilla fragrance with, I think, violet as well. I love this. It's so beautiful and elegant. And there's like a little bit of a fruitiness in here. I think it's because of there's kumquat in here as well. But this is gorgeous, and I'm up to, it's kind of hard to see. I think I'm up to here. So yeah, I've used this up a lot. It's just like a perfect fragrance to layer with just about anything. If you like powdery, woody fragrances, this one is really good. Another fragrance that was powdery but in a different way was Theodore's Calatinus Cherry Powder. This was like my favorite Theodore's Calatinus, I feel like, of this year because it was just so easy to wear this with a lot of fragrances in the summertime. This is so powdery, it leans close to baby powder with cherry, like powdered cherry. It's really, really interesting and unique, but you have to like powdery fragrances to like this, otherwise you won't like it. But I really enjoyed it. I really like this one a lot. Um, yeah, and I did wear this quite a lot. I have like a few dents in other Theodore's Calatinus bottles, but this is one that I know specifically I made this dent in 2024 because this launched this year and I was using this a lot. Another pretty obvious dent was one that kind of snuck up on me, to be honest. Like I wasn't expecting to make this dent in this perfume this quickly, but this is Orbella Salted Muse. It's kind of like a perfume oil, and I think one of the reasons why I made a dent in this so quickly, and I do need another size, like I need the larger size. I think the reason why I made the dent here is because this is so easy to like overspray and layer with other fragrances, and that's what I was doing. This is like an effortless summer fig salted kind of aromatic fragrance. It's so beautiful. I loved this one. Going a little bit more into the gourmand category, I also really enjoyed Private Mood So Vanilla. Now this is actually one that I distinctly remember wearing a lot last winter. So I'm talking like January, February of 2024. I wore this constantly. This is, I believe, an Italian brand. Um, they're a little bit lesser known, but this essentially has, I believe, the note of gingerbread with some lemon icing and vanilla. It's more complex than the name would suggest. It's not just vanilla. There's some other facets to it. It literally smells like one of those Starbucks pastries. I think gingerbread with like vanilla frosting. That's what this gives. It's a really beautiful, like hyper realistic gourmand. Very, very nice. If you love vanilla gourmands, and I believe my dent is like up to here with this one. So I did use like about a third of it. So the dent was denting. Um, and this is like 3.4 ounces for like $100 something. It's really not that expensive at all. I got my bottle from the Sillage by GB. I believe that's the distributor that distributes this fragrance here in the US. But yeah, it's a really beautiful, delicious vanilla gourmand perfume that's also quite affordable. Okay, another one that I absolutely love and I've waxed poetic about this fragrance is Kismet for Men. This is a fantastic luxury smelling fragrance that is a vetiver and sandalwood with patchouli, but it's not like an earthy patchouli. It's more of an aromatic patchouli, and this travels so well. It has a fantastic sillage. People will smell you. You will get compliments on this, and I love it. It's so so good, and it's like $25. This is a no-brainer. I'm sorry, this is a no-brainer. I might as well get my backup because look at this. And yeah, I've had this since like March. Like it was a purchase I made this year, and I'm pretty sure I will run through this because I love it that much. Another fragrance that I just bought this year and I made quite a dent in it, it was Annabelle's Birthday Cake by Marissa Zappas. This is the old bottle. They've since rebranded and come out with some new designs for their fragrance bottles. This is a perfume that I just love. I love it because it's like a gourmand with like a unique twist to it. It has like some like cupcake, like cake like notes that are supposed to like mimic a birthday cake, but it also has like latex balloons in here as well. Like that's a fantasy note, obviously. But this is like a gourmand fragrance with a little bit of nuance to it. I really, really like this one. And I wore this fragrance a lot this summer. This was like one of my favorite summer fragrances, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's amazing. Annabelle's Birthday Cake, I've used up like a third of it, and I did buy it this year. So the next fragrances, to be quite honest, this is going to be lumped into one category. As many of you already know, I love Une Namad, and as you can tell, the love runs deep because I have bought 2 out of 3 of these bottles myself, and look at the dents. So I'm gonna show you the big one first. So this is Sun Bleach. They did send this one to me, but at that point I had already been in love with the brand for a very long time. And Sun Bleach is kind of like a sandalwood, linen smelling fragrance. And to be honest, this is like giving quiet luxury on a yacht. You know, white, all white linen outfit for the summer. This is what that's giving. And for that reason, I was spraying this on liberally in the summertime. This was like one of those essential perfumes. And I made a bit of a baby dent. Keep in mind, this is a large bottle, so there's a lot to go through. But yeah, I fell in love with this. This is really good. But the dents that are the most prominent are from these ones. And I did buy these fragrances with my own money. And I honestly might need to get a larger size of both of these because, to be honest, these are some of my favorite fragrances of all time. And I have Love at First Sight, a beautiful lilac perfume with passion fruit and ambroxan, stunning, and Sugar Leather, a stunning leather cinnamon caramel fragrance. Both of these are wonderful. Look at my dents. Just look at that. Yeah. So, yeah, by the way, you can save on these fragrances, 10% with the code Anya10. You can also use that code for their discovery sets. They have some amazing discovery sets, and you can get a voucher in those discovery sets that will give you money off your full bottle purchase, or really any purchase that you make on their website. I think there's a minimum, but highly recommend you check this brand out. They're one of my favorites. So yeah, you can tell how much I love this brand. I have used up their fragrances a lot. So yeah, those are all my favorite fragrances that I used up the most this year. Those were my heaviest dents, so to speak. Let me know, are there any fragrances in your collection that you looked at and you're like, wait, I used this up a lot more than I thought I did. I probably need a backup. Let me know. Are there any fragrances that are like that in your collection? Fragrances in our collections end up being those like perfect fragrances that are easy to come back to, easy to wear over and over again, and we just don't get sick of. And I feel like those are a special category in and of themselves. So yeah, these are some of my favorite all-time fragrances. Again, not all of these were launched this year, but these were ones that I heavily used in the year of 2024. Let me know what were your favorites, and I'll see you next time. Bye!